So, who is really in control of your success? Well, it's a question that has sparked literally endless debate. You know the feeling, right? Are the outcomes in our lives entirely up to us, just forged by our own two hands? Or are we being guided by something else, something unseen? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to unpack a remarkably powerful framework that tackles this exact tension, showing us how we might not actually have to choose between the two. The philosophy we're looking at today explores the synergy of effort and faith. And honestly, this is a framework that might just completely change how you look at your daily grind, your biggest ambitions, and even how you handle setbacks. Okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around this philosophy, we're going to walk through its 5 core concepts. First, the synergy explained. Second, taking personal responsibility. Third, the role of humility. Fourth, trusting a higher power. And finally, number 5, achieving true balance. All right, kicking things off with section 1, the synergy explained. This really gets right at the core tension of the whole idea. Right out of the gate, we define this as combining personal effort with faith in a higher power. Now, what's really interesting about this definition is how it frames the relationship. It's not a tug of war between two opposing sides. It's a continuous loop. It doesn't present your hard work and your faith as enemies fighting for control over your destiny. Instead, it positions them as a necessary synergy. And shifting your perspective to see these as two distinct forces working together, that is incredibly powerful because it frees you from the crushing burden of having to do absolutely everything yourself while still keeping you firmly in the driver's seat. So, to make this actionable, the framework rests on 4 key pillars: personal responsibility, humility, faith, and balance. Think of these not as separate, abstract ideas, but as a comprehensive toolkit. Each one relies entirely on the others to function properly in the real world. Let's move to section 2 and see how this builds into our everyday lives, taking personal responsibility, which is our action phase. This philosophy is absolutely not an excuse to just sit back, cross your fingers, and wait for good things to randomly happen. No way. It explicitly emphasizes taking initiative. We are called to strive to do our absolute best and work diligently towards our goals. So what does this actually look like for you? Well, it means sending out those resumes, right? Putting in the late hours on your passion project, or actively doing the hard work to repair your relationships. The universe just isn't going to do the heavy lifting for you. Active, driven human effort is the non-negotiable starting line. We've got to put in the work. But what happens when our absolute best effort just isn't enough? That brings us to section 3, the role of humility, which serves as our ultimate pivot point. Right after hyping us up to take massive action, the framework hits us with a much-needed reality check. You aren't all-powerful. No matter how perfectly you plan your week or how diligently you work, a metaphorical storm can still roll in. You know, the market shifts, an unexpected illness hits, or someone else gets the promotion. Admitting that you just can't control the weather is exactly where humility begins. This recognition of our own boundaries, that some things are fundamentally beyond our control, is what keeps us grounded. And once we reach that absolute boundary of our own capabilities, we arrive at section 4, trusting a higher power. Because we've acknowledged that we can't control everything, we are encouraged to trust in a divine force. When our personal capacity runs out, we must believe there's a greater plan and purpose at work. And honestly, this isn't about giving up. Actually, scratch that. It's more like passing the baton when you've run as fast and as hard as you possibly can. It's the profound relief of trusting that something greater fills in the gaps of your own limitations. This higher power isn't there to replace your effort, but rather to catch you and guide you in the spaces where your own power simply falls short. This dynamic push and pull brings us to our final section, section 5, achieving true balance. This is the ultimate synthesis of everything we've just unpacked. Now, the framework strongly warns against falling into 2 specific, very common traps, and this brilliantly illustrates the danger of going to extremes. On one side, we have an excessive reliance on self-effort. This is you literally crushing yourself under the weight of trying to control every moving gear in your life, leading straight to burnout and anxiety. On the exact flip side, we have passive resignation. This is when you're completely checked out, caught in a web of stagnation, believing that since a higher power is in control, you don't need to take any initiative at all. Both of these extremes totally rob you of your potential. The golden mean we should be aiming for is a beautifully balanced approach, avoiding both of those destructive extremes. It's a life lived with rigorous action and deep, unshakable faith. It's not a one-time achievement either. It's an ongoing, dynamic dance, knowing exactly when to push forward with everything you have and knowing exactly when to open your hands and let go.
If there is one single takeaway to remember from this entire framework, it's this beautifully simple instruction. Live your life, quote, striving to do our best while trusting in a higher power to complete what we cannot. It's such a profound summation. We provide the effort, we provide the drive, but we trust something greater to bridge the gap between our limitations and our ultimate goals.
Which leaves us with an absolutely critical question to consider as we wrap up this explainer today. Look honestly at your own life right now. Are you relying way too much on yourself, burning out, trying to control the completely uncontrollable? Or are you resigning too easily to fate, failing to take the bold initiative you need to succeed? Finding that perfect synergy between your effort and your faith, well, it might just be the exact key you need to unlock your true potential.